So we are going to look at these word problems here that deal with multiplying decimals. And we know that with any word problem we encounter, we always should use cubes to try to figure out what we need to do. I'm going to do numbers 2, 4, and 6 with you guys. I do not believe you have a copy of this sheet, so what I will do is take a picture and upload the picture of these problems to my website so that you can choose at the end of this one problem that you would like to try on your own. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start with number 2, and I'm going to write cubes down the side. It says Antonio buys 2 and 2,500 pounds of grapes at the store. The grapes are on sale for $1.20 per pound. How much will Antonio pay for grapes? So my important numbers are 2 and 2,500, $1.20. My question is, how much will Antonio pay for the grapes? Okay. And then I'm going to box per pound. How much will pay? I want to know his total cost. When I evaluate that, I know this is how many pounds and this is how much 1 pound is, because I know that per pound means how much the cost of 1 pound. So I'm going to take the cost of 1 pound, or the cost per pound, and I'm going to multiply it by the number of pounds I have. So I'm going to multiply here. And I'm going to multiply 2 and 2,500 times 1 and 20 hundredths. And I've evaluated. Now I need to solve it. There is a recording sheet that I have that I'm going to utilize to show and solve my work. Okay. Since I'm working on number 2, I'm going to write my information in here. So my equation that I'm solving is 2 and 2,500 times 1 and 20 hundredths. And this recording sheet page is the only page that you will really need to write on. What you see me writing with the word problems, you just need to follow along and look and really listen to what I'm doing as I work through cubes. And when we actually get to the working section, you will work yours out here in the various spaces where we work. Okay? So in order to solve this, I'm going to set up a kind of the rectangle sections or the box method. Okay, and I see that my first number has 3 digits, so I'm going to give myself 3 sections. So I have 2 wholes, I have 2 tenths, and I have 5 hundredths. Here, this has 3 digits, but that 0 really doesn't inhibit the value or change the value, so I'm just going to use 1 and 2 tenths because it's the same thing as 1 and 20 hundredths. So here I'm going to split this into 2 sections, and I'm going to have 1 whole, and then I'm going to have 2 tenths here. Okay. Here in this box, I have 1 times 2, which is 2. This box, I have 1 times 2 tenths, which is 2 tenths. Here I have 1 times 5 hundredths, which is 5 hundredths, because anything times 1 is always that same number. Okay. Down here, I have 2 wholes times 2 tenths. If I have 2 groups of 2 tenths, then I have 4 tenths. Here I have 2 tenths times 2 tenths. I know when I multiply a tenth by a tenth, it equals a number that's going to have digits in the hundredths place. So 2 times 2 is 4, so that means it must be 4 hundredths as my answer there, because a tenth times a tenth always results in a hundredth. Here I have 2 tenths times 5 hundredths. A tenth times a hundredth is always a thousandth. I always go over another place value. So I have 2 times 5 is 10, so I need 10 thousandths. So I'm going to write 0, 0, 1, 0 is 10 thousandths. Okay. Now I'm going to add my partial products. Okay. So I'm going to add 2 wholes plus 0 and 2 tenths. Remember to use your decimal as your anchor. I'm going to add 0 and 5 hundredths. I'm going to add 0 and 4 tenths. I'm going to add 0 and 4 hundredths. Or excuse me, 4 hundredths. I was just about to write that in the wrong place. And then I'm going to add 0 and 10 thousandths. When I add all those together, here in the thousandths place I get 0. In the hundredths place I get 10, and I have to carry my 1. In the tenths place, I get 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 4 more is 7. And then here I get 2. So I get 2 7/700,000ths, or 2 7/10 is actually the answer to my. So I get 2, and since I'm looking for money, I believe it says how much would he pay. I have $2.70. Okay, is my answer for number 2. All right, we're going to take a look at number 4. Number 4 says, Tasha buys a purple sparkly pen from the school store for each of her 5 teachers. Each sparkly pen costs $2.15. If this is all Tasha buys at the store, how much money will she spend? So I'm going to go ahead and write cubes down the side. My important numbers are 5, and this is tricky because it's written in words, so I'm going to write it out in number form. $2.15, and I'm going to mark that off, mark my C off because I've circled my important numbers. I'm going to underline my question. How much money will she spend? My action words are each and each here. My evaluation portion now, if she has 5 teachers and she wants to buy 1 pen for each teacher, then I need to look at how much 1 pen costs. It costs $2.15. I have to multiply that by 5 because I need to buy 5 pens. So I'm going to take $2.15 times 5. Okay. Now for this problem, I can use my base 10 grids. So I'm going to go to my base 10 grid section, or my base 10 grid sheets that I have. And I'm going to multiply, this is number 4. I'm multiplying $2.15 times 5. So I can take 2 wholes 5 times. 1, 2, there's 1 time, 1, 2, 2 times, 1, 2, 3 times, 1, 2, 4 times, 1, 2, I believe that's 5 times. So I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 holes. Now I have to take 1/10 and multiply it 5 times. So that means it's going to be 5/10. So I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because that's 1/10 5 times. Now I have to take 5/100ths and multiply that 5 times. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 1 time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 2 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 4 times. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 times. So I end up with a total of 10 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tenths, and 5/100ths. So I end up with 10 holes, 7 tenths, and 5/100ths. So on my recording sheet, since I'm talking about money, on my recording sheet for number 4, I'm going to write my equation again. 2 1/1500ths times 5 equals 10 holes and 75/100ths, or $10.75. Okay, and then I can just put C grids. So when I glue in my papers, I want to make sure I glue in my grids as well to show where I worked out this problem. Okay. The last one where I'm going to do with you is number 6. Says the average precipitation for Raleigh, NC, in April is 2 92/100 inches. One year it was practically rainy and particularly rainy, and Raleigh received 1 5/10 times as much as normal. How much rain did Raleigh receive during the unusual April? So I'm going to put cubes down the side. My important numbers are 2 92/100ths, 1 5/10. Underline my question, how much rain did Raleigh receive during the unusual April? Box my key action words. Times as much as normal. Okay, that times is really key right there. Normally they receive this much, but they received 1.5 times as much. That tells me I need to multiply. Okay. Here I'm going to multiply 2 92/100ths times 1 5/10. So on my recording sheet for number 6, I'm going to write 2 92/100ths times 1 5/10. going to set up my box again. Have the 3-digit number times a 2-digit number. So I'm going to put 2 wholes, 9 tenths, and 2 hundredths. Here I'm going to put 1 whole, and here I'm going to put 5 tenths. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 9 tenths is 9 tenths. 1 times 200 is 2 hundredths. 2 times 5 tenths equals 10 tenths, which is the same thing as 1 whole. 5 tenths times 9 hundredths. When I have a tenth times a tenth, it means I have a hundredth. So 9 times 5 is 45, so I have 0 and 45 hundredths. Here I have 0 and 2 hundredths times 0 and 5 tenths. A tenth times a hundredth is always a thousandth. 5 times 2 is 10, so this is 0 and 10 thousandths. Okay. Now I'm going to add all those together. I have 2 wholes plus 9 tenths. Remember, use your decimal as your anchor. Plus 0 and 2 hundredths. Plus 1 whole. Plus 45 hundredths. Plus 0 and 10 thousandths. When I add all those, I get 2 and 5 is 7. 1 more is 8. 4 and 9 here is 13. Carry my 1. 1 and 2 is 3. Plus 1 more is 4. So I get 4 and 380 thousandths, or 4 and 38 hundredths. Or I could write it as 4 and 380 thousandths. Those are both the same thing. All right, I would like for you to choose one word problem to do cubes with. I will take a picture of it. You can look at the problem, write the actual problem in your notebook, and then solve it on your recording sheet here and glue all your pages in. If you show me where you wrote that word problem from the picture in your notebook, used cubes, and solved it on your recording sheet, you may earn 8 tickets tomorrow.